Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Blaze, blaze, dar no man, no my, no man, no my, no man, no man, no my, my.
When you get to a goal is you try something and you fail a little bit, and you correct that, and then you fail a lot and you correct it. It's constant. You know, you can't make any movement without failure. I think one of the reasons people don't try challenging goals is because there's always failure built in. So I kind of come from the perspective, if you're trying to do something, you'll never come up with the right answer. Maybe never, but you'll come up with good answers that are better than what you have right now. And there's failures along the way. You make mistakes along the way, and that's just the developmental process. You can only see whether you've done something in retrospect. Usually, I would say years later, and you say that body of work, actually produced results. I feel good about it. But boy, along the way, you stub your toe, you make wrong moves, and you just try to minimize those. Did you know that improving students' vocabulary has been shown to not only help reading skills, but also boost math performance as well? In fact, a recent study found that a number of math students performed poorly on tests simply because they didn't understand the wording of questions. By developing a program to help them learn the terminology, teachers could help students' test scores improve dramatically. Isn't it time to remove the barriers to the successful education of our students? Because learning beyond boundaries means helping students build academic vocabulary. Teachers. When I say feedback, I don't mean evaluation, and that's unfortunate that in our profession, most teachers and many administrators maybe even associate anytime there's feedback, there's evaluation that's going on. That's not the case, nor should it be the case. Feedback should be a natural part of being in this profession. And feedback is a natural part of every profession. If you want to become expert in any field, you need feedback, and that's feedback from yourself, feedback from peers, feedback from coaches, feedback from supervisors. That all should be in the mix that allows a person to examine their practice reflectively. And that's where a protocol like we've developed with iObservation is absolutely necessary to get the type of feedback that's specific and robust that can't be done paper pencil, by handheld tools. Believe me, we've tried it. You need a platform to do that. You need technology to do that. There was a back-to-school night for one of my kids. I got 4 kids, and I forgot which one actually now. And at that time, I was at a university, a great university, University of Colorado, and I was a professor there, and I had prior to that, I had pretty much set a course in my life I wanted to be a really good researcher, but a pure researcher, and I had some heroes, and they were in these very prestigious journals and stuff, and that's what I want to be. But I remember the back-to-school night, walking around, talking to some of the teachers and looking at classrooms, and I realized that most of the stuff, if not all of the stuff that I was doing at the university level was not filtering down to the classroom. And it really hit me that I could spend, my whole life in doing things that really didn't get to the place I was supposed to be helping, and that was classrooms. And I said, I can't do this. I've got to change. And that changed my whole life. I changed my job. I went to an R&D firm, and fundamentally I've been trying to apply research, ever since that moment in time.
In the United States now, we're talking a lot about international competition, internationally benchmarked standards, and so on. And I wanted to see what is actually happening in terms of teaching and learning in other countries. So I've looked at a lot of high-achieving countries, and it became very clear to me right away that the issue is not just the standards that are written on paper. It's the entire teaching and learning system. So we have a number of international assessments, and the one that is most referenced is the Program and International Student Assessment, which goes by the name PISA. And on PISA, the United States scores or ranks 35th out of the top 40 countries in math. We rank 29th out of the top 40 countries in science. But we typically do a little bit better in reading. However, we've gone down on the international assessments in reading each year that it's been given, and we've gone down on the math and science assessments as well. So we're losing ground, and while we're pushing scores upward on the state tests that we use here. I think the reason we're falling down on PISA is that PISA actually addresses higher order thinking and performance skills. In high achieving countries, they have school-based assessments as well as external assessments that are brought together in the accountability system that include things like research and inquiry, scientific investigations, extensive writing. Most of these countries do not use multiple choice testing to any great degree. Some don't use it at all. Kids are always having to write, analyze, explain their views, produce data, analyze data, both in the classroom and on the assessments. And so we need to point our system at these higher order thinking and performance skills if we're really going to be internationally competitive. So what you see in high achieving countries is typically a very lean set of standards. In Finland or Japan, for example, all of the math standards can fit in about 10 pages from K-12. They are very clear about what needs to be taught and when and how it builds over time, but they're not overly prescriptive. By comparison, in the United States, many states have created good standards. In some states, the standards are sort of a mile wide and an inch deep. There are 300 things to cover in each grade level, not a small number of things to do well and deeply. And the content coverage of large numbers of objectives superficially means that we end up reteaching the same thing over and over again year after year because we didn't stop and do it well and deeply at a moment in time. In the classrooms, the teachers then do a lot of work around project-based learning. You would often in a classroom see students working on a lot of self-initiated work, individually and in small groups. They may be creating a student newspaper and working on their journalism project. They may be designing and conducting scientific investigations. When they're studying what a fish looks like, they actually will go out and get 30 fish and one on each desk and dissect the fish and figure out how it operates and so on.